Good morning everybody. So today's maths, we're going to start with the do now. So we've got 7 questions to answer in 4 minutes, just like always. The first question that I want you to home in on and really look at is number 4, which is 5/6, take away 1/3. Now straight away we should notice that the denominators are different, so it makes the subtraction harder straight away. They're not the same denominator. So let's think about what we need to know here. Well, we should know, and we looked at this in the last couple of lessons, the difference between fractions and their sizes. Even though a 6 is larger than a 3, when we're talking about fractions, you need 2/6 to equal 1/3. So I think we looked at this with quarters the other day, and we looked at how an 1/8 was half the size of 1/4. Well, a 1/6 is also half the size of 1/3. So straight away there, we've said that 2/6 is the same as 1/3. So you should notice that you can now substitute that fraction, and you've now got 5/6 take away 2/6, which then makes that subtraction much easier to do. Now, if you're not sure on that, or if you're thinking, I didn't know that 1/3 was the same as 2/6, then have a practice and go through. So if 1/3 is the same as 2/6, what's 2/3 the same as? What's 3/3? You could keep going to 4/3 and 5/3. It doesn't matter that the numerator is larger than the denominator. It's about understanding how many 6 are the same as 1/3 or 2/3. Okay? If we look at question 5, we've got 2/3 multiplied by 7. Now, we will learn to unpick this a little bit more when we're back in class together, when we're in year 6. But we also talk about a whole number is a fraction over 1. And when you come to multiply those fractions, that's how simple it becomes. You've now got your numerators multiplied together, 2 times by 7. And then you've got your denominators 3 times by 1. And then what you need to ask yourself there is, how do I get that improper fraction, to a mixed fraction? And you're asking yourself, how many thirds can I get out of 14? So you either give your answer as an improper fraction, or have a think back to the work that you would have done in year 5. How do I get that improper fraction into a mixed fraction? Okay, that's something that we will come to in year 6. So if you're thinking, I'm not really sure how to do that, then at least submitting your answer as 14/3 is good for now, okay? Okay, so the main activity today links straight on to the lesson that we did yesterday on long multiplication. So we're going to go through one example, and I'm going to do 3 different methods on the board, because I want you to be able to rewind and use the video on the method that you're most comfortable with. So the first equation that we're going to look at is 43 multiplied by 36. 43 multiplied by 36. Shuffle this camera over. And we're going to try and work out, first of all, we need to understand this is my multiplicand, this is my multiplier. So my multiplicand stays as a whole, but I'm going to split my multiplier up. And hopefully we're straight away thinking we always do the ones first. So I've got 43 multiplied by 6, and then I can have 43, and this time I'm just going to multiply it by 3. I'm taking that 3 tens and I'm using it as a 3. 43 multiplied by 6. We can either do that mentally, or you can do a quick short multiplication. So you might split it up, and you might say, well, 4 times by 6 is 24. Make it 10 times larger, because that's a 40, so it's 240. 3 times by 6 is 18, and then I've got that to add on. So I should have 258 as my total there. You might want to check 43 multiplied by 6. So 6, 12, 18. 4 times by 6, or 40 times by 6, is 24. add one of my tens. So I've got 25 tens or 250. So I've got my answer as 258. So I've multiplied my multiplicand by the ones column. I'm now going to multiply my multiplicand by 3. 43 times by 3, well that should be, or it will be, half of that. So I can halve 200, which is 100. I can halve 50, which is 25, and halve 8, which is 4. And when I add that up together, I've got 129. Okay? That's multiplied by 3. Now we all know that that 3 actually represents 3 tens, so we need to make this number 10 times larger. And that now reads 43 multiplied by 30, let's move that down here, is 1,290. I've made my number 10 times bigger, and I've just got this number and this number left to combine. And we're just going to add those up. So 9 add 5, well 9 add 1 is 10, I've got 4 more is 14, I've got 14 tens because that was in my tens column. 200 add 200 is 400, add 1 more there is 500, and then 1,000. 1,548 should be your final answer. That's one way, and that's probably the easiest way. So if that's what you're most comfortable with, then start there, okay? One way of multiplying 43 by 36. Yesterday, there were lots of you that left the session with thumbs up, and then were able to get on with your work really well and independently, and that was using the process of long multiplication. So let's go through that one now, and with that one I'm going to do this grid method alongside. So 43 times by 36. Okay, there's my short multiplication, and I'm going to write that out as a grid as well. 43 always goes at the top as my multiplicand, and my multiplier goes at the bottom here as 36. Now we know we always start in the ones column. So I've got 3 times by 6 first. 3 times by 6 is 18. I know that's got 1 10 and 8 ones. 1 10 and 8 ones. I'm now multiplying my 40 by 6. I'm going to find that here. I've got 40 times by 6, so I might do 4 times by 6 is 24, so 40 times by 6 is 240. Now we have to look at where that's going to go. Well, the 2 has got to go in the hundreds column, and the 4 would go here, except I've already got a 10, so that's going to be 5 tens, 258, which is that row combined there. Now I'm on to the next part of my equation. So I've done 3 times by 6 and 40 times by 6. I've now got my 3 times by 30 and my 40 times by 32. The last bit of my equation now, which is the last part of my number, my 43. So I'm going to start with my 3 multiplied by 30, which is here because I always start in my ones column. So 3 times by 3 is 9. So 3 times by 30 is 90. And yesterday we looked at, well, how do I record that number? Where do I put it? Well, to represent 90, it's 9 tens and 0 ones. And then I've got this last bit left to do, which is my 40 multiplied by my 30. So 4 times by 3 is 12. It's actually 40 times by 3, made 10 times bigger, and then I've got my 30 here. So it's 40 multiplied by 30, made 10 times bigger again, is 1,200. So now we've got to look at, well, where am I going to record that there? I've got my 1,000 and my 200. I don't need to put my 2 zeros here because that number still reads with the same value, 1,200, but I've got an added 90 as well. And then I'm going to combine that together. 8 and 0 is 8. 5 and 9 is 14. So we've got 14 tens. 200 add 200 is 400, add one more is 5, and then 1,000. 1,548. So hopefully, if you're confident with that method, you can do both alongside, or you can just do this method, that's absolutely fine. This one just helps you to work out which product goes in which part, what are you multiplying by what, and then you're able to put it into that formal method over there. Or you've got the first method that we did, which was breaking down this multiplier. What am I multiplying by, and what does that look like? Now, as you go through the main activity, you've got a nice let's explore, which is spot the missing numbers, and you've got to try and guess what those missing numbers are. So I think you'll all get on with that nicely. So you've got to spot what the missing numbers are, and then you've got a bit of explaining to do. If you were to make that multiplicand on that multiplier a little bit larger, so add 10, so that's literally just adding 10. So whatever you work out as your first number, which is 40 something, and then your second number is something 6, I want you to make both of those. I want you to add 10 to both of them. So it might have been 41, you will turn your multiplicand into 51. If your second number, your multiplier, was 36, you would add 10 to it and you would get 46. Multiply those two numbers and see what happens. It tells you there's going to be a 6 in the ones column. See if you can explain why the 6 keeps appearing. And then your independent task, 1A, 1B, 2, and number 3 are all word problems. So it's two digits times 2 digits, but in a word problem. So it's unpicking the information that you need. And then number 4 is an equivalent calculation. Now, when we look at equivalent calculations, we're looking at that equal sign as meaning the same as. So for example, if I use an easier example, 2 add 3 is the same as 4 add 1, because this side totals 5 and this side totals 5. Okay, so that's what an equivalent calculation is. That will help you understand number 4. 5A, I think you'll be fine with. 5B is a bit of a Friday challenge. So if you're up for it, have a go at 5B. But don't panic if you get to it and you think, no, I'm going to leave that there. That's absolutely fine. Good luck, everybody, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Goodbye.